This next story is just one of the most ridiculous and stupid things that has happened during the Trump presidency. And that, I mean, it takes a lot for something to make that standard. Donald Trump yesterday, during an Oval Office briefing about Hurricane Dorian, held up an obviously doctored weather chart that suggested that Hurricane Dorian could have hit or was on track to hit Alabama. Now, you might say, why is that something that even matters to Donald Trump? This is all to retroactively defend Donald Trump's tweet from a few days ago, warning Alabama about the hurricane when Alabama wasn't at risk. Trump holds up one of those big blown up images. This is the hurricane track for Hurricane Dorian, and something looks weird on it. Take a look and see if you notice it in the video. If you're just listening to the show today, don't worry. I'm going to describe it in detail right afterwards.
We thought we'd give you a update on the hurricane. We got lucky in Florida, very, very lucky indeed. We had actually, our original chart was that it was going to be hitting Florida directly. Maybe I could just see that, Kevin. It was going to be hitting directly, and that would have affected a lot of other states. But that was the original chart, and you see it was going to hit not only Florida but Georgia. It could have was going toward the Gulf. That was what was originally projected, and it took a right turn.
So in the video, when Trump holds up this image, it looks like a Sharpie was used to add in a different hurricane track that included Alabama to provide cover for Donald Trump having previously tweeted that Alabama was in danger when it wasn't, which of course resulted in mass confusion in the state of Alabama. It resulted in weather services saying Alabama is not at risk. You don't need to evacuate. You're okay if you're in Alabama, other than obviously the completely horrible social service infrastructure that exists. As far as the weather, you were okay in Alabama at the time. This is not even remotely funny. This is extraordinarily disturbed behavior. So now let's look at these images in detail. This is the original map that was published, the one from actual weather people. And as you can see, the track simply does not include Alabama as a place that's at risk. And then here is another version of the same image that was held up by Donald Trump with a black circle, potentially a Sharpie, used to draw in a section of the Florida Panhandle and pieces of Alabama, which is totally and completely bogus. It happens to be a crime to issue or publish an incorrect or counterfeit weather report from the U.S. legal code. 18 U.S. Code subsection 2074, called false weather reports, says whoever knowingly issues or publishes any counterfeit weather forecast or warning of weather conditions falsely representing such forecast or warning to have been issued or published by the Weather Bureau, United States Signal Service, or other branch of government service shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 90 days or both. Just another crime under the Trump administration. No big deal. There are many now. Someone actually asked Donald Trump during a subsequent media availability about the word, about a Sharpie being used for this to be drawn. And Trump just kind of stuttered and looked away and said he doesn't know about that.
And that map that you showed today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And that map that you showed today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Think for a second, if the Trump administration is willing to go this far for some, offhanded, stupid, incorrect tweet from Donald Trump about a hurricane in Alabama, how far are they willing to go in other areas? And how far are they going in other areas that we're simply not hearing about? Because every day it's lies and scandals and deception and misdirection. The lengths to which this administration goes to avoid simply owning up to a small mistake. I mean, would it be that bad? Would it be that crazy if we just had a statement from Donald Trump, I didn't mean to alarm people that didn't need to be alarmed. There was a point very early on where I believed from the briefing I got that it was possible that the hurricane was going to Alabama. That possibility was no longer a possibility when I sent the tweet. Didn't mean to disturb people. This was a very damaging storm, regardless, and right. You could just admit it, but there is something that goes on in the guy's brain, and it has spread like a virus to the people around him, where everybody knows you can never back down. You double down, you don't back down, and this time they used a Sharpie to double down. This is comically insane, except it's not comical, and it's not actually insane in that this would be an insult to insane people, and I don't want to do that. This is also not criminal genius. This is struggling for what to call it. This is malignant criminal narcissism and idiocy, maybe is the way that I would sum it up. And fortunately, Fox News is not allowing this to go unnoticed. Let's talk about that next.